Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another video. It is the weekly news roundup, the show where we sit down on a Friday and we talk about all of the latest Everton news from the past week or so. It's been a very busy week for Everton Football Club. 2 games played, one really disappointing defeat to Newcastle at Goodison Park on Saturday and one absolutely excellent victory against Leeds United at Allan Road on Wednesday night. We've also had a transfer deadline day crammed in between those 2 fixtures, which saw a whole plethora of Everton players leaving the football club, most of them on loan, and Josh King's signing, of course. We did do a deadline day video where we sat down and we talked about the transfer market as a whole, and we talked about January market and, you know, the players that have left and the players that have joined, aka Josh King, and we sat down and we reviewed it as a whole. So if you haven't checked that video out, it is live on the channel now. It's called January Transfer Window Review. I think it is live now. So we're not going to go into too much detail on the transfer market and deadline day today, but we will touch on it a little bit later on in the video. But I want to start with an injury update. Carlo Ancelotti has had his pre-game press conference today ahead of tomorrow's massive Premier League fixture against Manchester United at Old Trafford. He has confirmed that whilst Allan has returned to training today, he is not available for tomorrow's game. Now again, Allan obviously has been really missed since he's been out injured, and of course it's absolutely fantastic news that he is back in training. Carlo did say he wouldn't be available for tomorrow's game, but hopefully with him being back in training he'll be available for next week's cup game against Tottenham Hotspur, and it will be a massive game to welcome him back into. He has been missed massively in the last couple of weeks or so, although we performed fantastically on Wednesday. Certainly the midfield of Andre Gomez, Abdoulaye Doucouré and Gylfi Sigurdsson, I think we still know that we do lack that little bit of edge that Allan brings. So fantastic that he is back in training with the side. However, he won't be available for tomorrow as he has only started training today. Carlo also confirmed that Jean-Philippe Koeman is still individually training. He said that it's too early to say or decide when he'll be back to match fitness. Again, the story continues with Jean-Philippe Koeman. I feel sorry for the lad at this point, to be perfectly honest with you. He's been an Everton player now for nearly 3 years and he's only featured, 2 or 3 times at Everton. He's had some really big injuries, and I understand the club's stance with Jean-Philippe Koeman, and I understand Carlo Ancelotti's stance is that, there's no need to rush him back. We're not desperate for midfielders at the moment, and there's no need to rush his rehabilitation and his training, in order to get him back quicker. We may as well just allow him that time to train individually, and hopefully he'll be back at Finch Farm within the next couple of weeks or so. And he also confirmed that Jordan Pickford is still out. He picked up a side injury and was unavailable for Wednesday's victory against Leeds United, and he is still out injured. So that is all from Carlo Ancelotti's pre-game press conference in regards to injuries. Tim Howard has had an interview today with Inked Mag, and he has been talking about his time at Everton Football Club. He has said that I played for Manchester United, which is the biggest football club in the world, and I've played for Everton, which is the greatest football club in the world. What a quote that is by Tim Howard. I can honestly see that one going up in my dad's office in a little picture. That is an absolutely exceptional quote. He also went on to say, outside of my 2 children, Everton Football Club is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Being able to play 400 times for that club and becoming an Evertonian myself, loving the fans and having them love me, feeling like that's home. He said there's nothing like it in the world, playing at the Gladys Street end with all of those Blues behind you, just willing you on, having this togetherness. Yes, I'm on the field playing, but they're there. It's just one family, one team. It's really special. So absolutely brilliant words there by Tim Howard, of course. Very good goalkeeper for Everton, fantastic servant. Made an absolute catalogue of unbelievable saves for Everton Football Club, and like I said, played over 400 times and was exceptional for a large part of that playing career at Everton Football Club. And if there's one thing that I think we all agree on with Tim Howard, is that he really took to Evertonians. And it's something that you may criticise players for, it's something that you may even criticise managers for at Everton, where they come into the club and they don't really understand the crowd, they don't really understand the fans, they don't understand the club. And we're going to talk about a certain Everton manager a little bit later on in the video, who certainly come to Everton Football Club and didn't understand the club whatsoever, but Tim Howard really did. You know, he says it feels like home, and he became an Evertonian, and I think his love and his passion and his feeling for our fantastic football club that we all love is really pure, and he is a proper Evertonian, and I just think that is an absolutely exceptional course. I love Tim Howard. He did have a couple of frustrating games, but I absolutely love him. I mean, to come out and say, look, Everton is the greatest football club in the world, given the clubs that he's played for, given the fact that he wasn't a born Scouser. You know, he was a keeper who come over from the States, played for Manchester United, and you know, obviously played a large part of his career at Everton. So fantastic words there from Tim Howard. Absolutely love him. For me, he is a legend, certainly of the game, and for me of Everton as well. Large part of my childhood growing up was watching Tim Howard in goal. So fantastic quotes by Tim there. Everton's Premier League game against Manchester City, the game that was postponed a couple of weeks back, has been rescheduled. It will now take place on Wednesday the 17th of February, 8:15pm kickoff at Goodison Park. And if you're wondering the irony behind that date and that fixture is that is 3 days before we are due to play Liverpool and Anfield in the Merseyside derby. So we now play Manchester United at Old Trafford, Tottenham Hotspur at Goodison in the FA Cup, Liverpool at Anfield, and Manchester City at Goodison Park within the space of 8-9 days, something like that. Look, I put a tweet out on Thursday when this was announced, and I said, you know, I really don't think it's acceptable how a game can be postponed and Everton not even be involved in the conversation. Look, we done a video when that happened, and I give my opinions on I think the lack of communication from the Premier League and Manchester City, and then it get rescheduled at a point which just isn't convenient for Everton whatsoever. And I know we have to play everybody once, and I know that we have to play, you know, everybody, and we have to, you know, beat who's in front of us, but putting a game like that 3 days before a Merseyside derby at Anfield, when we would have had a week's rest to recuperate and get the fitness back up, I just don't think it's very fair on behalf of the Premier League, to be perfectly honest with you. But they never are fair to Everton, and ultimately it might be a blessing in disguise. You know, we obviously seen what the postponement of the Manchester City game previously done to Everton. We would have only had a couple of days rest between Sheffield United and Man City, and then a couple of days rest between Man City and West Ham. We beat Sheffield United. The game against City was postponed. We all sat here and said, oh great, we'll have a little bit more rest ahead of West Ham, and then we turned up with a week's rest against West Ham and put in an awful performance. So maybe playing those consistent games of football, playing, you know, United, Tottenham, City, Liverpool all in a space of a week or so, it might get us in a flow of getting out results and performances, and maybe it'll be best for us. But we'll have to wait and see. But that has been confirmed that Everton's game against Manchester City has been rescheduled for Wednesday the 17th of February, so a couple of weeks away, less than a couple of weeks away, at 8:15pm kickoff at Goodison Park. Big happy 51st birthday to Everton legend, Everton striker Kevin Campbell. Kevin Campbell turned 51 yesterday. We've had Kev on the channel. He's an absolutely fantastic gentleman, not only an unbelievable footballer and a brilliant footballer for Everton Football Club, but also a really nice guy. He's got time for everybody. He's often replying to Evertonians. Like I said, he took time out of his day to come on the channel. Hopefully we'll have him back on as well in the next couple of weeks. We were actually meant to have him on this week, but I had to switch some things around because of the Leeds game and deadline day. So a massive happy 51st birthday to Kevin Campbell. Like I said, no doubt an Everton legend. Scored the winning goal the last time we beat them lot at Anfield, and hopefully in a couple of weeks' time, you know, we'll be talking about another winning goal scored at Anfield. But a massive happy 51st birthday to Kevin Campbell for yesterday. Josh King signed for Everton Football Club on the deadline day on Monday, of course. He was Everton's only incoming transfer. There was a whole load of players that left the football club, such as Cenk Tosun joined Besiktas on loan, John Joe Kenny joined Celtic on loan, Anthony Gordon joined Preston on loan. We had the likes of Yannick Bolasie joining Middlesbrough earlier on in the window, Benny Beningame joined Derby. A lot of loan deals. Like I said, we did do that full review of the January transfer window. We give it a rating. It was myself and Cal sat down and talked about the January transfer window, talked about Josh King's arrival as well. So if you haven't checked that out, please do so. It is live on the channel now. But like I said, Josh King has joined the Everton Football Club. He actually made his debut before we even seen any pictures of him in an Everton shirt. Like I said, the first time we seen him in any official Everton gear was training before the game against Leeds United. He did come on as a substitute with about 5 or 6 minutes to go, and he done alright. He didn't really have much to do, to be fair. He got on the ball on a couple of occasions. and he broke forward on a couple of occasions as well. But he didn't have a great deal to do. However, we did see yesterday the official pictures of him signing. He's done an interview with EvertonFC.com as well, and I believe it's on Everton's official YouTube channel. Seems like a really, really nice, down-to-earth lad. Seems to have really, really got the football club already. Wants to work hard, wants to get his head down, wants to fight for his position, and ultimately, he's coming in on a 6-month contract. So if he wants to stay at the football club long-term, then he's going to really, really have to impress between now and the end of the season for Marcel Brands and Carlo Ancelotti to sit down and discuss an extension to that deal. But fantastic news. Look, we were desperately in need of some backup up front. We were desperately in need of another option, especially with Anthony Gordon going out to Preston on loan and losing that option from the wing. We needed somebody that was going to come in, and Josh King is a big physical player, 29 years old, experienced Premier League goal scorer, scored a lot of Premier League goals at Bournemouth. Like I said, a lot of pace, quick acceleration, big, strong lad, and I honestly think he'll be a vital part to the rest of Everton's season, and I think it's a fantastic deal. It cost less than around £5 million, I believe, and like I said, the contract is 6 months, so if he doesn't impress, then he can leave with no strings attached. If he does, then hopefully he'll sign that contract extension. But Josh King is now officially an Everton player. He will wear number 11. We saw the pictures of him in the home kit and the away kit over the last couple of days as well, which have been fantastic to see. One of those moves out of the football club was Jonjoe Kenny. He has joined Celtic on loan. He made his debut in their victory against Kilmarnock a couple of days ago, which led to the whole discussion about whether Josh King would be eligible for the game against Leeds, because Jonjoe Kenny had featured for Celtic the day after he'd signed, I believe, but because it was over 24 hours, it was allowed, and Josh King did end up being eligible for that game. Big up to Toffee TV, who predicted that. Well, I didn't want to say predicted, he basically called it, and nobody believed him until he was on the bench. But Jonjoe Kenny did make his debut for Celtic in their victory against Kilmarnock, and by a couple of accounts, I don't know whether he won the official Man of the Match award, but I have certainly seen a couple of Celtic fans and Celtic newspapers, etc., saying that he put in a really, really good performance and he was worthy of that Man of the Match award. So big well done to Jonjoe Kenny, and we do hope that he has a fantastic time at Celtic this season, and hopefully for his sake he can get a permanent move at the end of the season and go and further his career, because I don't think that career is at Everton Football Club, unfortunately. I said before about one man who didn't understand Everton Football Club, one man who simply didn't get the fans, and that's why he failed. Not only that, he was a dreadful coach as well. Ronald Koeman has been talking about Everton this week. For some reason, you'd think he was busy getting on with the Barcelona job, considering they're getting beat left, right and centre, and he's doing an awful job there. But he has been talking about Everton recently. He has said that Everton are a club and also fans who expect sometimes too much, and I think sometimes they are still living in the past about the great seasons that they had. Now, it's very, very difficult to read that sentence without laughing my head off, because what that is a bitter man. He's bitter that the fans didn't take to him because he didn't take to the fans. He's bitter that it didn't work out for Everton, and he's probably bitter that he's doing awfully at Barcelona now, to be perfectly honest with you. It's quite ironic that Ronald Koeman is talking about Everton fans' expectations when, he joined Everton Football Club and managed us absolutely dreadfully for pretty much his entire time at the football club. Okay, the first season was good and we finished in a European competition and it was a progression season, but there was no progression after that. The way he treated certain players, namely Oumar Niasse, was disgusting. I think he fell out with large parts of the dressing room. The way he's treated players since leaving Everton has been questionable. Luis Suarez has spoke up on his departure of Barcelona in the summer, and he's now, I think, the top goal scorer in the Liga with Atletico Madrid. But yeah, like I said, that just, for me, as soon as I read that quote, I just chuckled, because it just seems like a bitter man who for some reason has something against Everton Football Club. And like I said, with Tim Howard, we aren't a club who take to people who don't want to engage with the fans and don't want to feel the passion, and that's why we all love Carlo Ancelotti so much, is because from the first day he's spoken about his love for Evertonians and love for the fight and love for the passion, and pretty much in every match reaction or every match post-game press conference that Carlo does, whether we win, draw or lose, he's always talking about wanting the fans in the stadium. He's always saying we need the fans back. The fans are the big thing about football. He loves Everton Football Club, he loves Evertonians, and Ronald Koeman might have said a couple of things when he was at the football club, but it was clear by his body language, it was clear by the way he acted, the way he was, that he just didn't really care about Evertonians and Everton as a football club, and that quote says the same. Everton are a club that sometimes expect too much, what we expect to be challenging at the top of the league, because we're the fourth biggest club in England. We've won more titles than Man City, we've won more league titles than Chelsea. So would you say that they're clubs that expect too much by wanting success? No, you wouldn't. So don't say it about Everton. Don't disrespect Everton. Like I said before, Tim Howard, a goalkeeper who had a fantastic career at Everton Football Club, come under quite a lot of scrutiny towards the end of his career, but you probably won't find an Evertonian now who's got a bad word to say about him, because he understands the club. He is an Evertonian. He loves this football club with all of his heart, and Ronald Koeman is the complete opposite. And again, like I said, he needs to focus on doing what he's doing at Barcelona, because by all accounts it's not very good, rather than coming and talking about Everton, who are doing fantastically at the moment, with not only a coach who understands the football club, but a world-class manager, the best manager we've had in my lifetime. And like I said, you know, Ronald Koeman wasn't anywhere near Carlo Ancelotti's level, and he didn't understand the fans either. At least with maybe previous managers like Marco Silva and Roberto Martinez, you could say, okay, it didn't work out and ultimately you weren't good enough, but they made the effort to understand the club and understand the fans and appreciate the fans, whereas I just don't think Ronald Koeman did whatsoever. It all started with that red Christmas tree, didn't it? Talking a bit more about deadline day then, like I said, a few players left Everton Football Club. John Joe Kenny on loan, Anthony Gordon left on loan as well. Of course, we saw Ellis Sims joined Blackpool earlier on in the window. Jared Branthwaite joined Blackburn. We see Cenk Tosun move back to Besiktas. Jonas Lersel joined FC Midtjylland on a permanent deal. Benny Beningame joined Derby on loan as well. And then, of course, we brought in Josh King. Overall, I think it was a really successful window for Everton. Again, like I said, you know, Marcel Brands come out and was quite vocal in saying that the plan for this transfer window was to move players out rather than bring players in. I think when we started to see the likes of Anthony Gordon, you know, being rumoured with a move away, John Joe Kenny leaving the football club, Cenk Tosun leaving the football club, it became quite evident that we did need to bring in an attacking option, and we done that with Josh King on a fantastic contract, and he's a player that can definitely improve this Everton side and bring something a little bit different. So not a bad word to say about the January transfer window, and like I said, I think it was a good one for Everton. And then finally, Luca Dean and Tazeri, his wife. I don't know how I've pronounced that. If I have pronounced that wrong, I apologise. But Luca Dean and his wife Tazeri have announced the birth of their baby girl. This was announced on Saturday afternoon. So a massive, massive congratulations to the both of them, who are now parents to a baby boy who is very, very cute, and a baby girl as well. So a big, big congratulations to both Luca Dean and his wife Tazeri on the birth of their baby girl. And that's pretty much it for the weekly news roundup this week. Not an awful lot of news, to be perfectly honest with you. Not an awful lot has happened. Obviously, a lot's happened in terms of 2 games of football and a transfer deadline day, but in terms of just bits and bobs of news, we haven't really seen a lot. So that's it for today's weekly news roundup. If you have enjoyed it, please do hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. Check out the game preview. Me and Callum sat down and talked about tomorrow's Premier League game against Manchester United at Old Trafford. It's going to be a difficult one, but definitely a game that Everton can win if we're on form. Massive thank you for watching this one. If you've enjoyed it, please do leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. We will be back tomorrow night with the instant match reaction and the player ratings to the game against Manchester United. Let's hope it's a positive one, and let's hope we're all jumping for joy tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, because it's an 8 o'clock kickoff. I know. I don't know why. Big thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed it, leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Up the toffees, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.